It's the Brad and John Show.
As we would say in the old days, tight board. John, it's the B block, and you know what that means, John?
It's time for Brad's Top 3.
It is time for Brad's Top 3, and we start off with...
It's time for Brad's Top 3.
And we can't go any further until, by union contract, the jingle ladies sing twice.
It's time for Brad's Top.
And John, what do we start off with?
It's number 3.
It's number 3.
My number 3 today. Okay, it's a sad day. It's a sad day. It's a very sad day. Because you know what we no longer have in the United States? You know what we no longer have?
Let's see. We no longer I bet it's a disgusting fast food item that you guzzle late at night.
No. Matter of fact, an official statement came out on Tuesday. So yesterday was the first day where we don't have a company, or actually a quasi-governmental agency called the Corporation for Public Broadcasting. It's gone, John.
No way, Brad. Can we have an official burial on this show?
And NPR has reaffirmed its statement as far as independent journalism. And they started off by saying, quote, "For nearly 60 years, CPB has been a cornerstone of public broadcasting in the United States. Over its history, CPB has been a source of vital funding for local stations and a champion of music and educational programming, helping make independent journalism and essential community programming possible in this country. We are deeply grateful to CPB and its staff for their decades of service to the American people." John, there are certain things in my life that I've been through a lot of hell. I've almost been killed a couple times in car accidents. I just went through my gallbladder operation. You know, I've had some really bad. I've had people shoot at me. That's a true story, John. I've had bullets fly close to me. I don't know if any of those things even come close to the fact that I have to come to the realization there's no more CPB anymore. John, I'll be honest with you. I just don't know what to do.
I do know that you've been struggling with this for a long time, and you set up an automatic contribution. And you've already have an entire basement full of tote bags from St. Louis Public Radio, but you want more. And that's why you're contributing to that's why you're contributing to national NPR, not just St. Louis Public Radio now, right?
Yep. And let me I do agree with Ruby Calvert. Do you know who Ruby Calvert is?
No, who's that?
Well, she was the chair of CPB's board. Since there's no CPB anymore, she's not there anymore. And her quote was, this is Ruby, "What's happened to public media is devastating. After nearly 6 decades of innovative educational public television and radio service, Congress eliminated all funding for CPB, leaving the board with no way to continue the organization or support the public media system that depends on it." Now, John, if you were in your car right now, and I don't suggest people do this, but if you were to tune down from 104.5 to 90.7, guess what?
What would you hear? I bet you would hear a ton of local news.
You're not going to hear white noise. You're going to hear a radio station that's still on the air, that still has a staff of 34 journalists who I don't know what in the world 34 people. I know what one guy covers. That's your friend and mine. Well, he doesn't like me anymore. He's coming after me. But Jason Rosenbaum, the super journalist who contributes about 98% of the news at KWMU, it's still there, and it will be there. And I guess the thing that probably bothers me the most is the talking points of the people that come out against this. And I heard it again 2 weeks ago before Christmas break. I didn't talk about it in the air. Some dude was talking about how calamitous this was of losing CPB. And his point was, especially it's going to be tough for rural residents because they are in an incredible, here's the quote, news desert.
It's a desert out there. Nobody's covering nobody's covering agriculture or rural life out there, Brad.
You know, I have to be honest with you. I drove down to Cape Girardeau, I guess this was a while back. And as I was sort of in Nowheresville there on 55, where, you know, you're not near really any main town, I noticed there were cactuses on the side of the road. And when I got off the road, I've got that app on my phone that essentially tells me what kind of plant it is. You can look at a plant or a tree.
Yeah, I know I'm tracking with you.
And I took a picture of one of these cactus, and it came back as the news cactus, and it says that they survive, or they barely survive, in news deserts. And it's very sad because of the fact that the reason that they are able to survive just a little bit is because of the fact that they can deal with very little water, but they will die if they don't get any news. So if
just a little sprinkle of cash. Now, I thought they were called news deserts because the reporters there are so thirsty for attention.
Maybe that's what it is. See, here the interesting thing is, let's go back to a conversation we had earlier this week with Scott Faughn. Scott Faughn, who just bought 3 newspapers. I thought it was just one, but one of them was the Fulton paper, and the other one was the California Missouri paper. Okay? Do you think the people in California and in Fulton and in Jefferson City suffer from a lack of news because of the NPR affiliate out of Columbia, KBIA, maybe have lost some of its funding for CPV? Or do you think Scott Faughn, who is now the owner of those publications, is injecting probably a fair amount of news into those areas? What do you think, John?
Absolutely. You're exactly right. And let's face it, in that example, too, they still get a lot of great stuff from the Columbia market.
Right.
Your point is taken, Brad. And if I recall correctly, in our discussion yesterday of Minnesota Public Radio, I don't remember Minnesota Public Radio and their extensive staff breaking the story of the Somali daycares. I don't believe that was public radio.
John, you are exactly right. You sound like me now, John. You sound like me. That's exactly what I would say. And not to make fun of our folks at UMSL. Well, they're not UMSL anymore. They're in downtown.
Let's make fun of them. Let's make fun of them.
But breaking news and KWMU, St. Louis Public Radio. What's the word for things when their things are dissimilar? What's the word?
They're an oxymoron.
They're an oxymoron. Breaking news, because if you want breaking news, you're not going to find it on St. Louis Public Radio.
As my friend Brad Hildebrand says, if it was a Saturday morning and the Gateway Arch fell into the Mississippi River, St. Louis Public Radio would not be there to report it.
They wouldn't. Okay, ready for number 2?
Give it to us, Brad.
It's time for Brad's number 2. It's time for Brad's number 2.
You know what? I'm going to do something I've never done before. I'm going to combine number 2 and number 1. Okay, you ready for this, John?
Okay, I'm ready, Brad.
Okay.
Let's do it. Let's do a little combo.
Number 2 is going to be Denny Hoskins, and number 1 is going to be Michael Burton. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a twin spin.
And now, big finish, Brad's number 1.
I guess this
Is
could
that
be
the first time Michael Burton and Climax have been referenced in the same climax? Excuse me, in the same context? I'm so pleased with my own joke, I stuck on it.
I guess this could be called a hybrid. Okay. Do we need to recap our involvement with Michael Burton? Should we talk about that?
No, I mean, I don't have anything more to say about it. We talked about it in C Block, but if you would like to describe the interaction and him flaking multiple times on scheduled conversations with us, go ahead.
Okay, this whole thing came about when this goes back, what, a year and a half now? This
more than a year, yeah, to the Hoosier fight in South St. Louis County.
And this was October of 2024, correct? Wasn't that what it was?
Correct. Yep, you're right.
October 2024.
October, yeah.
2 Democratic operatives, one of being a state rep, Michael Burton, the other being John Boesch? Is that his name? And he's
correct.
And he spells it sort of weird. He doesn't spell it like Boesch.
Boesch.
Right, okay. Had a little confrontation. And the reason this became sort of news last year, just like maybe 60, 90 days ago, is that there was a videotape that had been taken of this confrontation. It was at the St. Louis County Democratic headquarters in South County. Wasn't that where it was, John?
That's correct. And you're showing your boomer status by saying videotape. It was a cell phone video.
It was a cell phone video. Okay. And it involved one Michael Burton showing up at the Democratic headquarters,
Who
complaining.
is a state representative.
And still is, and complaining about the fact that he had spent some money with the Democratic convention or the Democratic committee to get some kind of a voting guide or something. I don't know what he was working on.
Yeah, get out the vote. He thought that he didn't get what he deserved from the money that he paid, which I think is sounds like a pretty fair argument.
Right. And it turned into some heated discussion. It turned into some fisticuffs. And what's interesting, it turned into some beard pulling. Okay. So it was interesting because of the fact that apparently, with the wide reach of the BJ show and with Westplex Talk, both of these people found out that we were talking about it on the air. And they both contacted me because, once again, I give my phone number out in the air, 314-280-8880. Okay, so first it was John Boesch who contacted us, and we said, okay, come on the air with us. And we gave him an appointment, and he was supposed to come on the air with us, and he didn't. He stiffed us, correct, John?
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And then Michael Burton decided he wanted to come on the air, and I had a couple conversations with him on the phone, and we texted back and forth, and we had a time when he was supposed to be on the air. And what happened, John? Did he show up on the air?
He flaked on you, Brad.
He flaked on me. So.
And then he also, and I think this is also important, he called you on a Saturday.
Yes.
And expected to go live on the air.
I forgot about that. Yeah. He was supposed to be on the air with us on a Friday. He called.
And why didn't he make Friday? What was the reason that he gave you, Brad?
He had a birthday party that night, and apparently you and I sort of figured out the fact that he was probably hungover from the birthday
He said he
party.
overslept.
He overslept,
okay.
but he was.
So that's incompetence,
right? But
mixed with disrespect.
But
so go ahead, Brad.
There's one interesting part of that. An interesting additional to that is that originally I asked him if he could be on the air at 7:45, and he said
he lied and said what?
He's had an appointment at 7:45 at a meeting.
So he had an appointment to be hungover.
Right. And instead we'll do 7:30. So he moved it up 15 minutes. Okay, no problem. Monday, 5:17. I get a screenshot of, and if you're a Facebook user, John says he hates Facebook, but I am a Facebook user. I get a screenshot of a group of people, and this is not me, a group of people who are requesting friend status from someone else. And this happens to be a screenshot from Michael Butler's phone. And I am
Michael Burton?
Michael Burton. I am number one on this list. And it shows that I have requested to be a friend to Michael Burton, which I had done. And
why did you ask to be his friend on Facebook?
John, if I told you the real reason for that, you wouldn't believe me. Okay.
Go ahead. That's not germane to this conversation.
In C block, I will tell you. Okay.
I don't care. Go ahead.
So I get the screenshot, and then I get a message underneath the screenshot. It says, "It looks like your co-host sent me a friend request." So in other words, he's thinking you. He's thinking he's texting you. So
Brad, pause for a second. You've spoken with this gentleman on the phone.
Yes.
You've texted with him over a period of time.
Yes.
How does he not know that you're Brad Hildebrand?
I don't know. I mean, he thinks it's you because he says he thinks he's texting you. Once again, it says, "It looks like your co-host sent me a friend request." In other words, it's my picture. He thinks that
He thinks he's texting John.
He thinks he's
Brad.
texting you. He's texting me about me. Okay. And then a couple minutes later, he says, "Or are you Brad?" And then another couple minutes later, it says, "I have no idea." So I text back, "I'm Rod Jetton. Long live green balloons." And he says,
Brad.
"I don't know who that is." So I text back, "What? You need to learn your Missouri house history." He says, "Wasn't that the old Speaker of the House or something? I thought he was ousted for some reason." And I said, "Green balloons." And he says, I don't know Missouri house history well at all. Me being a state representative was never part of my plan.
Oh, God. Now, here we go into a soliloquy. Tell us more about yourself, Michael. Make this all about yourself.
Right. I just looked him up. Yeah, I know who that is. He needs to do better to help me get my summer camp safety bill passed. Now, he needs to do better. I guess he still thinks I'm you, you're me, or whatever. So, do you know what his summer safety camp bill is, or summer camp safety bill is? Do you know what that is?
No, have no idea. I'm guessing it's encouraging young men to either grow beards or get better at self-defense, because Michael's clearly doing neither of those.
Okay. Here is the second part of my hybrid number 2, number 1, Denny Hoskins. And you're going to say, "Brad, how in the world are Michael Burton and Denny Hoskins remotely even connected? Because
I was just thinking that, Brad. What's the answer?
Because one of the bills that Michael Burton has filed is he is going after stolen valor. Do you know what stolen valor is?
Yeah, Dedum Tots. We've discussed this many times on the show.
For those of you who don't know what it is, stolen valor is guys who dress up as Green Berets who are never even in the military, but yet they have the uniform and they go around in public. Yeah, I'm a Green Beret. What Michael Burton is complaining about, Denny Hoskins is exhibiting every day of his life stolen valor by wearing a red Cardinals Hall of Fame jacket. So Michael Burton is trying to have Denny Hoskins impeached because he's impersonating a Cardinals Hall of Famer.
Wow, that makes so. Anytime someone wears at my old company, Brad, we used to give guys that were fantastic cotton growers. We used to give them green jackets, which usually go to symbolic of winning the Masters in golf. Would we say that a gentleman who's an outstanding farmer for the Delta Pine brand was going around impersonating a Masters winner?
Yes. And
okay, there we go. This is, by the way, when I know we have someone to call in C Block, we have your friend to talk about the old shriveled up lady conference. But when we're not doing that, can we come back to the plight of Missouri Democrats, Brad? I'd like to spend 180 seconds on that.
We will do that, John. We will do that. Okay, we have to take a break. And
by the way, if anyone's looking for a break to run out and get their Geritol and their Depends, how about you do it right now?
Nina is much younger than I am, so she's not in the same age group.
Yeah, that's not saying much, Brad.
Okay.